going on, guys? JonahPlayss here, and today we're back with another video, and today we are on thethings.com for, I think, the single worst Smash Brothers article, if you can even call it that, ever to date. This was published in June 29th of 2019, so last year, not even a full year after the game came out, of 20 weird rules you have to follow at Super Smash Brothers tournaments. These are stacks and stacks of rules, even though they're only 20, out there for Smash Bros. Players to follow, lest they bring shame to their main. First of all, there are people who just play a character alone that already are shamed for it. So don't worry about, bringing shame to your main. You really can't, depending on, I mean, if you're that guy who immediately picks up Palutena or whatnot, then yeah, I mean, whatever. Anyway, but I mean it. Like, I've only read a bit of this article, and from what I've read, it's pretty bad. So, and by the way, when it says stacks of rules, that's not even half true. All right, so surely there are tons of people out there who love to play the ever-loving heck out of Super Smash Bros. And why not? I've been playing for the last 5 weeks straight, grinding for a tournament this end of the month. It takes all the greatest characters from Nintendo games and franchises and puts them all into one stage to beat up on each other. Sounds like a riot. They even have enormous tournaments, and they are fun and epic, and you should go to one if you play. And that is what we are here about. Imagine over 500 people gathered together to compete in this epic video game tournament. There are stacks and stacks of rules out there for players to follow. Also not true. We could have gone on our way to find some really weird Reddit-styled rules on the list, but we decided to run with rules that we think are pretty strange from some of the official list and 1 or 2 extras. Considering that some of these, I mean, no. There's no way. Alright, first of all, no taunting. That is not true. In fact, we have what's called taunt battles, which basically, what if you were to, lose your stock, you could both sit, at both the stages, bob up and down, or do your taunts or whatever. And until the other person decided to hit you, you just do that forever. So, no taunting is not a rule. Alright, this is just silly. Who's ever played a game competitively without a bit of chirping, which is, I guess, taunting? We cannot even begin what it must be like for a COD player. I actually might give the rule some leniency just for that. To switch platforms in games and join up for a Smash Bros. Tournament, they must get disqualified in every match for making mom jokes or calling a player a noob. No, but they definitely would be disqualified for unsportsmanship and being toxic, as COD players tend to be. But as they're not, but the old stigma. But anyway, that's not a rule. No swearing, I assure you that's not really at all. It's not true at all. There are so many of us right here and right now who would not be able to live by this rule. Gamers swear almost as much as sailors, true, if not more. We didn't realize that the Catholic Women's League was organizing Smash tournaments these days. The rule is likely so the organizers can put online tournaments online without having to worry about angry parents. I mean, I suppose. But this one's fake because I've done this myself and had it done for me. No coaching. Coaching... it's not going to really tell you what it is. Coaching is when you have a person who, say, if you go into a set and lose the first game, really bad, and you're in a bad mindset, you can either ask or sometimes voluntarily your coach will come up and be like, hey, look, don't worry about it. It's going to be all right. This guy's using this strategy. You can use that to get around him and do your best. I've been able to be really good and do that with my good friend Alex, or X. You guys know him from my streams. And he's been able to actually pull out some pretty good matches just from doing that. And he's done the same with me. So he's my coach more than I am his, but we were both basically each other's coaches, and it's awesome. So anyway, first of all, did everyone here know that there are legitimate coaches for hire, which is true, but you won't find them too often. That's just ridiculous. In spite of the strange in it, that's not ridiculous at all. It's common in esports. It gets even more weird to discover that the coaches can't say anything to the players during a match. Well, yeah, mid-set coaching you're not allowed to do. Even though they are allowed to at all the times. During a match, you can't say, oh, he's going to do that. Move out the way. That's like saying, it's like walking up behind your friend playing poker, or walking up behind whoever your friend's playing and say, this guy's got 2 aces, you better fold. You can't do that. So there's no poker. Number 17, no wireless controllers. This isn't a rule, but it is preferred. And I'll explain why if the paragraph doesn't. So no wireless controls. We sort of get this rule, but given that the system and the players are never going to be too far away, it seems silly to refuse the use of a wireless controller, especially when players from all over must bring their own controllers to some tournaments, by the way, not all. Sometimes we do provide. Sure, it would be annoying to have all 4 players trying to sign in at the same time, but there is nothing positive in the long run. So basically the reason that we don't like them is because I'll give you an example at Empire, which is the main tournament that I go to. Shout out to Zegman and all the guys from Empire, awesome dudes. I'll give you an example. My buddy X uses the Pro controller. Just the Nintendo Switch Pro controller. Excuse me, Nintendo Switch Pro controller. Mucus built up. And one time after a set, he had put his controller down on the table, I guess, accidentally, put it on the face side. So I'll use my controller here as an example. He put this side down where the buttons are. He put it down on the table, which pressed the home button. But his controller was still connected to another switch from the match before. So whoever was playing on it now, their match got paused and ruined. So they had to fix it. So basically, we're just, yeah. Number 16, disqualification for any controller malfunctions. I have not witnessed this one before. I've not. So, I don't know. I've not witnessed this, but I'm not going to say it doesn't happen because I didn't witness it. So, did anyone here know that a controller messes up in any way and interrupts the flow of gameplay? Did anyone here know that if a controller messes up in any way and interrupts the flow of gameplay, even for the slightest moment while in Smash tournaments, the overlords of the game can give the person the boot? Likely, if a controller goes off for a second, this has very little to do with the player who now potentially suffers a loss. Well, I can assure you that, number one, like the story I just told you, Alex, my friend, did not get banned. They sorted it out. They restarted their match, and we still ended on time, so we were all good. Most people don't ban you for it unless you're at a really high-end tournament like Evo, and then they ask you to borrow a different person's controller. You will never be banned unless you purposely exit the game, which has happened before at a couple tournaments I've been to. Some rage quitters used their controller, reconnected, and then exited the game during grand finals or something. Super annoying. But for the controller going off, that's just, you probably didn't bring battery or something. Friendly fire is always on no matter what. That is not true unless you are in doubles. So, all right, this is just ridiculous and perhaps a little bit too ridiculous at that. The notion of having friendly fire on when in a doubles match of tournaments is just a little too much, we think. With no rule for polishing off one's own partner, we're afraid friendly fire may lead to the ending of some friendships. It teaches you coordination, and it teaches you that you have to practice with your teammate to be able to make sure that you don't hit each other. Now, in the match, in your set, I'm not going to say, I can't promise you that you'll never hit your teammate no matter how coordinated you are, but that's just there for a reason. I mean, come on. Number 14, no self-destructing. There is actually a rule against doing away with one's own character, so if a player accidentally falls off the stage, but it looks like they went and did it on purpose, the overlords of the match, them being dramatic, can disqualify the player from being a bad player. It's a bit much. That is not true at all, by the way. That has never been true for any tournament I've ever been to, and I've been to some high scale and some low scale. And I have never seen that before. I have seen Ganon side, which is when Ganon uses his side B to basically drag you down. Bowser side B, which is actually the picture you're seeing right now. Kirby drag down. I've seen Spikes. I have seen a lot, and they have never banned you. It's just part of the game. Number 13, no stealing lives. Now this one is another doubles one, I do believe. So first of all, it's bad enough that there are so many ways to lose lives in this game based on ridiculous rules. But it turns out it is perfectly legal and encouraged in the rules for players to steal their own teammates' lives. People aren't allowed to stack their teams, but they can make sure that the best player stays on the stage. So you answered your own rule. They're making sure the best player stays up so that they're able to win. Who wrote this? Number 12, no items. That's not a dumb rule. They're dumb. Items are a big part of the fun, but typically we have discovered that items are removed from every stage. Why? People think it gives them an unfair advantage, which it does. But since there are rules against camping and purposely stalling a game, it seems each player has a pretty equal chance of getting an item. But it's the items themselves that are RNG, meaning they're random, so you never know. Like right now, Luigi here has a Pokeball, but Mario has a Master Ball. Luigi could throw out a Togepi or something that doesn't do anything, while Mario could throw out, Palkia or whatever and turn your stage upside down and invert your controls. Like, really? Number 11, no pausing. I've not had this one exactly happen in a tournament, but I've seen it happen to other people at the tournament I went to. The whole point of a tournament is to compete against each other in Super Smash Bros. There's no there's no player we can think of whose strategy for winning hinges on pausing the game. But are players actually banned from doing this, and can they get the boot for a pause? But what if they have to sneeze? So I'll give you an example. We were at lunch at school one day, and my friend BJ and me were playing. And he paused the game, pressed the home button because we have pause turned off on our switches for the actual settings. So, but he actually he pressed home on the Switch, which is basically another version of pausing it, and decided that he wanted to quickly adjust his earbuds. So we told him, typically, what you're supposed to do, and this is true, is you're not banned, is you're supposed to take the stock. You're supposed to jump off and take one of your stocks. You're supposed to lose one of your stocks on purpose. So you jump off and take your stock and then go back to fighting because that's part of the rules. So, Number 10, no character. Wrong. No. No character changes. Apparently, even if a player is consistently winning or consistently losing with certain characters from round to round, they are not allowed to switch characters. This makes it really annoying when out of 500 players, we all get to see 50 Marios face off against each other throughout the entire day. Well, first of all, that's not true. People can change their character all the time. I could use a different character for every single set of every game. Like every game of every set I play, period. Like I have 3 characters that I use in conjunction with each other. My main, Simon Belmont, which you can actually see right above Sonic the Hedgehog here, the blonde-haired burly dude. I have Jigglypuff, which I don't think you can see on screen. And then I have Captain Falcon, which I don't think you can also see on screen. So my main is right there. But, yeah. So no spamming. That's true. We do not allow spamming. There are some people who sign up for tournaments who are not at all good at the game, and yet the only thing they have is officially taken away from them in the rulebook. Players aren't allowed to continually use the same attack over and over. Why? If the opponent is too dim to notice this and adapt, then whose fault is it really? It's not that we're dim. There are some moves in the game that if you were spam are get-aroundable. Like if you jumped up and kept using like different, spammed like different, attacks from like Wolf or something, it's pretty hard to get around. So it's there for a reason. Number 8, no complaining. This one is definitely one that they found from like some dude's house tournament or something. Players are given a rule that is basically saying don't complain about the rules, which is a little ridiculous when some of the rules do have to do with consistently frustrating a player to the breaking point while they try and super smash someone else on screen. Who does writing like this? Okay. Which is a little ridiculous when some of the rules have to do with constantly frustrating a player to the point where they try and super smash someone else on screen. Too bad we don't get to use items in this tournament. Disqualified. I've never seen that. That had to be like a house tournament. Number 7, slay the... Okay, so I have never seen this actually ever used, so I'm going to skip this one. But basically what it is, it's evidently like a custom mode or whatever. I don't even know. Okay. Why is the Nintendo 64 edition preferred a rule? That's not a rule. Gentleman's rule. What is rather strange about this whole called gentleman's rule is that it does not matter that it exists. It sort of makes room for the previous. Oh, so that's a rule that basically means that if you ask and if your opponent agrees, you can choose any stage, not just tournament stage. Victors can't select the same stage twice. That's true, actually. No, that's not true, but that's true. Well, it's not true. Excuse me. Well, it is and it isn't. It depends. So it seems like in the early days of competing, some guy named, it's Dave's rule. Some guy named Dave continued to use the same stage for every level he could, which led to people barring a victor from choosing for a second time any previous stage they had personally selected. With no items, it seems like it could be a pretty easy way to sort out any map. May as well stay all the same. Basically, if you go to a tournament nowadays, you'll have a piece of paper, typically with a stage list on it, which at the moment, I think Ultimate has Pokemon Stadium 2, Yoshi's Story, or Yoshi's Island, one of the two, Final Destination, Battlefield, Kalos, Town and City, Smashville, Yggdrasil, the Altar, and a couple other ones. What's that one? It's the Star Fox one. Well, I really don't remember. I'll think of it in a minute, but yeah, so a couple stages, and if you were to win your first match, like, you agree on what your first, a lot of times people do what's called Gentleman's PS2, which is Pokemon Stadium 2, so you always start on PS2. And then if you win, the loser gets to ban, you get to ban 3 stages, and if you lose, your opponent gets to ban 2 stages and then pick their stage. But if you win the first set, like I said, and decide to run it back and you both agree to run it back to PS2 again, you can do that. But if you ran it back and then your opponent was like, let's do PS2, that is something you can do, but you shouldn't, because it's, anyway, you know what I mean. All right, number 3, physical interference. By the way, that's a great set of Melee. That's Hungry Box, which is the dude on the right up there in the top on the webcam, and Armada up there on the left. I'm a big fan of Hungry Box. He plays Jigglypuff, which is one of the characters I play, and he's a big inspiration for me playing Smash. He has almost a very similar story to mine. But that at the moment is EVO Grand Finals of EVO 2016, EVO being Evolution, which happens in Mandela Bay, California. All right, we're not quite sure why there even needs to be a rule against physically accosting one's opponent in real life. Pretty sure normal laws deal with that, since assault is typically illegal. Either way, we guess there must have been some pretty nutty players who dropped the gloves and went at each other in the early days of Smash tournaments. Well, I'll give you one. I was at a tournament for Smash Ultimate in the beginning, where I was at a bar, and these 2 guys decided after a set, he was like, you know, meet me outside. You know, he was talking trash. And then I guess after the tournament ended, I got like, I don't know, 5th or 6th or something out of like 20 or something like that, 21, something like that. And we went outside to go, and the guys were actually fighting in the parking lot. So, like, not just like arguing, but they were actually pretty much fighting. No talking. This is just so ridiculously strange that we're pretty sure there's no way anyone actually follows this one, but we do. There's actually an official rule against talking near where the gamers are, since it might throw them off, as if being surrounded by a big audience watching the game isn't distracting enough. Yes, but there's a difference. With an audience, you're not focused on the big audience. You're focused on the game, and you could have headphones in. At a regular local tournament, if I'm sitting at a comic book shop or at a bar, and I'm sitting at this, table, and there's some like, no offense, but 200-pound dude sitting next to me, breathing on me the entire time and screaming every time that my opponent hits me, then yeah, I'm gonna be pretty ticked. All right, number 1, winner stage ban. This is a very odd ban, we think. Basically, the rule states that the winner of the first match gets the opportunity to go and choose at least one. Yes, that's what I basically just said. Like, literally. What if they have competed before and know the favorite stage of their opponent? It's called a counter pick. You make sure they don't get a favorable stage. That's part of the game. I think this guy went to a tournament and is like, why isn't everybody hugging each other? Why aren't we all friends? Everybody wins. I'm just one of those people. The guy probably walked in expecting a participation trophy. I'm sorry, this has really made me mad. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Instead of the first person to watch the video, comments, likes, and all that, please subscribe. We're almost to 190, to then 200, so we're on the road to 200 basically. Check out our subreddit, r/JonahPlayss. And if you play Smash Bros, let me know down in the comments and tell me your main, and if you've ever been to a tournament or have seen any of these rules. So thank you, and I will see you all in tomorrow's video and streams. Thank you, and I'll see you guys next week.